Breaking news. What else can happen in the NFL right now? We have a draft trade. The Houston Texans and the Minnesota Vikings have agreed to a trade. According to Ian Rappaport, the Texans will send their number 23 pick in this year's NFL draft to the Minnesota Vikings. The full details of the trade are as follows. The Vikings receive the number 23 pick and the number 232 selection in this year's NFL draft. The Texans get number 42, a second-round pick, number 188, and a second rounder in 2025. What does this mean for the NFL draft? Gronk, spike the like button. I'm going to give you my opinion. Let me know in the comment section below your opinion, and let's discuss. So first thing that comes to mind is obviously one thing and one thing only. The Minnesota Vikings are manipulating their way into a quarterback in this year's draft, right? Like, that's what they have to be doing. And if not, this is only a way for them to just add premier assets to their team. But you would think now having the 11th pick in the draft and the 23rd pick in the draft, they are trying to put those two picks together to launch themselves up the board and get a quarterback, whether that be the number 3 pick from your New England Patriots, probably not the number 2 pick from the Commanders, but maybe the number 4 from the Cardinals, maybe the number 5 from the Chargers, a team that could definitely use multiple picks, maybe any other team that they see fit. Like, this is such a fascinating move to me in terms of what this means for my team, the New England Patriots. Like, does this mean that the Patriots are going to trade back with the Vikings and get 11 and get 23 and maybe a future first? Because honestly, I think I might take that deal. Like, that's 3 players, and then you have another first round next year. I mean, that's pretty enticing to me. Like, if you think that Drake Maye or Jaden Daniels is the franchise quarterback, you take them at number 3, but there is no way, shape, or form that you're staying at number 3 instead of taking that deal for a receiver or a tackle. There's no way. So you have to pick a quarterback at number 3, or else it's going to be a trade out, in my opinion, if you're the New England Patriots, right? And going back to the Vikings for a sec, because this is really about them. I mean, the Texans, they get some nice assets for the future as well and get to balance out kind of their roster and their prospects for the future, because looking at guys like Danico Autry, Danielle Hunter, maybe potentially what's going on with Nico Collins' contract, Joe Mixon, a couple of these guys are on, a little bit aging, a little bit contract short term, and they're trying to push their kind of chances for the Super Bowl in these next couple of years. But having another second round pick next year, I think, is a good idea for sure, because their roster already looks pretty good for this upcoming season, and they don't have to do a ton more, and they still have their first round pick. So I find that interesting. But for the Vikings, again, it would make total sense for them to trade up. I think what they've done so far this offseason has been phenomenal. I think their offensive line mostly is pretty solid. They need to find a left guard. Tight end, they've got TJ Hawkinson. Justin Jefferson needs to get paid, but they have Justin Jefferson. Jordan Addison, right? So 2 receivers, a great tight end. They signed Aaron Jones on a 1-year deal to upgrade that running game, which makes me also believe that the short term is important to them. They signed Sam Darnold as a bridge option and potentially the starter if they can't find a rookie that they love. But if they could get to number 3 and draft Drake Maye, you're talking about putting Drake Maye into a Kevin O'Connell offense that attacks the middle of the field. And Drake Maye feels like that type of quarterback. He's big, he's strong, he's got a strong arm. And if it's Drake Maye, man, that would make a lot of sense, and that would be dynamic, because you would instantly be putting a rookie quarterback in one of the best offensive situations you could get, one of the best play callers in football, a good offensive line, a running back that can carry the load, a receiving core that's going to get open, separate, and make plays. That is a perfect situation for a young Drake Maye, and you could also maybe have him sit a little bit under Sam Darnold. So I see what the Vikings are doing here, and it is extremely enticing. And I love the direction there if they're going to go that approach. But obviously, you've got to nail the pick. You can't have a 49ers Trey Lance situation and have Kyle Shanahan kind of bail you out with getting Brock Purdy to be some great quarterback. So it's difficult to come through on the other side, but you're putting your chips in and you're saying, hey, our defense is looking pretty good too. I like the signing of Jerry Tillery as of late. They've already got some foundational pieces with Jonathan Greenard, with I love Andrew Van Ginkel's signing. I love Blake Cashman's signing. They've got a solid linebacker in there as well. They've got Murphy at cornerback. They could use another cornerback, but their safeties are solid. So if Flores does a great job with the scheme and elevating players, and I feel like the defense on paper right now is better than the one that was pretty good last year for most of the season. So the Vikings, I mean, these next couple of years, like let's say they go up, they get Drake Maye, they could be good, in my opinion, as soon as next year. And you're looking at this division and the landscape of it, and the Lions' window is potentially this year and next year. Like the Lions' window with Jared Goff is potentially this year and next year, because if you're considering it, Chicago is really making moves with Caleb Williams coming to their team, and that team looks to be pretty good for the future. The Packers look to be awesome for the future with Jordan Love. We already know what he is in the NFL. They've got a ton of young players, a good coach. And then if the Vikings make this move, I mean, Drake Maye could be really good. I mean, he has all the talent in the world. So if that's the move for the Vikings, I'm intrigued. If the move is maybe they're going to trade up and they could, get J.J. McCarthy, or maybe they stay at 11 and pick J.J. McCarthy, or they stay at 11 and pick whichever quarterback they deem, or maybe 23 is another avenue for them to get a quarterback that falls and pick a player at 11 that they really like. So there's a lot of different ways this could go. It's not only a trade up, but it's also an avenue to get back in the first round and to have a quarterback that last, whether it's the fourth quarterback or the fifth quarterback in the draft, to get that first approach at it, as well as, just building the rest of the roster if they want to just kind of like skip quarterback this year. So that's another way they can go. So it's really interesting. Having a quarterback on a cheap contract is such an advantage. And Sam Darnold is currently that. But also if they go with a rookie, they have a guy with potentially, a lot brighter future and more potential than Sam Darnold does. Like, I still think Darnold can maybe be something, but it's a slim chance at this point, other than just a bridge option. So the Vikings are making bold moves. I like it a lot, and it feels like this team has a very good foundation. I love the coach. I love the defensive coordinator. I love the pieces on the offense, and I love the pickups on the defense this offseason. I think they've been killing the offseason, 100%. This is another move. And for the Texans, I mean, this is just a smart, savvy move. Trading back, getting another pick for next year, and loading up the potential of having, a deeper roster for the future and assets that they can continue to retool this team with, as they've been very aggressive in free agency this year. And I think that will only continue this year, and then potentially next year they'll be more draft focused, and Nick Caserio will get back to that focus. So there's so much that goes into this. From a Patriots fan perspective, I'm just waiting on the edge of my seat. Okay, are we going to get 3 firsts out of this deal? Or what's going to happen, right? I would be super pumped. Like, as much as it's rare to experience a 3rd overall pick for my Patriots teams, I've never seen it before. It's also extremely rare to have 2 firsts and then have one pretty early and then one have it kind of later in the draft and then having 2 firsts next year. I mean, we've seen the teams that have been able to kind of rebuild themselves with multiple first-round picks and how those rosters have been able to turn out. Like, I look at Miami, and although they missed on a ton of picks, they also made their team a heck of a lot better, and they didn't even pick the best quarterback they could have, in my opinion, with Justin Herbert. So, I mean, this is crazy, right? So, I don't know, man. Like, and then who else? Like, Arizona. Arizona could greatly benefit out of this as well. So Arizona, like, let's say for whatever reason New England picks Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know why, but let's say they're on crack cocaine and they end up picking Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, so Arizona could get like 3 firsts on top of the 2 firsts on top of the whatever first they got. Okay. The Chargers, right? 5th, they could definitely use a trade back. Maybe the Vikings want J.J. McCarthy or something like that, and they want to jump ahead of the Giants at 5th overall. That's another approach that they could go with, and the Chargers could greatly benefit with 2 firsts. And so, man, I mean, there's so much that could happen in the draft. There's so much that's happening in free agency. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I think the Vikings are absolutely killing it. Killing it. Killing it right now. Let me know your thoughts. Gronk, spike the like button. Peace.